ముందుగా ప్రియమైన విద్యార్థులకు మరియు వారి తల్లిదండ్రులకు నమస్కారం. నా పేరు కె వెంకన్న జూనియర్ కాలేజ్ చైర్మన్. నేను ఈ రోజు 10th క్లాస్ విద్యార్థులను దృష్టిలో పెట్టుకొని మాట్లాడడం జరుగుతుంది. అది ఏమిటనగా, మనందరికీ తెలుసు, గత 2 సంవత్సరాలుగా కరోనా కారణంగా విద్యార్థులు ఎటువంటి పరీక్షలు రాయకుండానే పై తరగతులు పంపడం జరుగుతుంది. ఫలితంగా ఐఐటి జేఈ మరియు నీట్ లాంటి జాతీయ స్థాయి పరీక్షలను సాధించడం కష్టతరం అవుతుంది. దీనిని అధిగమించడానికి మరియు 10వ తరగతి పరీక్షలో అత్యధిక మార్కులు సాధించడానికి నేను మీ ముందుకు కె వెంకన్న జూనియర్ కాలేజ్ ప్లాట్ఫామ్ ద్వారా అనుభవజ్ఞులైన అధ్యాపకులచే ఉచిత వీడియో క్లాసులు, హ్యాండ్ రిటన్ నోట్స్ మరియు గత ప్రశ్నపత్రాల సమాధానాల విశ్లేషణ ఇవ్వబడును. కాబట్టి నేను విద్యార్థులకు చెప్పదలుచుకున్నది ఏంటంటే, ఈ ఉచిత వీడియో క్లాసులను మరియు హ్యాండ్ రిటన్ నోట్స్లను క్లాస్ రూమ్ లో కూర్చొని చదువుకున్నంత సీరియస్ చదువుకోవాలను. ఇంకొకటి ఏమిటనగా, ఈ యొక్క క్లాసులు విన్న వెంటనే అర్థం చేసుకొని ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయవలను. ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయడం అంటే కేవలం చదవడం కాదు, పేపర్ మీద రాయవలను. అలాగైతే గుర్తుండిపోతుంది. దీంతో పాటు మీ యొక్క నాలెడ్జ్ ని పరీక్షించుకున్న కొరకు త్వరలో ప్రీ ఫైనల్ పరీక్షలు కూడా నిర్వహించబడు. ఈ యొక్క అవకాశాన్ని సద్వినియోగం చేసుకోవాలని 10th చదివే విద్యార్థులకు విజ్ఞప్తి చేస్తున్నాను.
కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్ రిలీజ్ అవుతుంది, మిథేన్ బాగా రిలీజ్ అవుతుంది. ఈ రెండింటి వల్ల ఏమవుతుంది? గ్లోబల్ వార్మింగ్ ఎఫెక్ట్ అవుతుంది. సో హూ ఈస్ కాంట్రిబ్యూటింగ్ టు దిస్? జంతువులా? నో, నాట్ ఎట్ ఆల్. చెట్ల? అవే మనకు కాపాడుతున్నాయి. దెన్ హూ ఈస్ కాంట్రిబ్యూటింగ్ టు ద గ్లోబల్ వార్మింగ్? వీ ద హ్యూమన్స్ ఆర్ కాంట్రిబ్యూటింగ్ టు ద global warming. And now change of atmospheric conditions leads also to the global warming. Certain amount of changes of the atmospheric conditions also lead to the global warming. And atmospheric conditions, we know what are the factors that influence atmospheric conditions, we already studied. So obviously, what is the best thing we can do? Humans should understand their moral responsibility towards the globe, towards the economy, towards the ecosystem, towards their own ecosystem where they are living. Because humans are the only race who can think what is appropriate for us, what is good for us to exist. We have to live and let live. We'll have to follow this concept. Okay. So now this is global warming, and these are generally the effects of the global warming. What global warming? You know what is the first word? Human activities contribute to the climate changing by climate changes by causing changes in Earth's atmosphere in amounts of greenhouse gases. Okay, and the next thing is large contribution comes from greenhouse gases. Means what? Carbon dioxide, one of the one. So obviously, where do we get from the carbon dioxide from? Very true, we get from the burning of fossil fuels. Always put in your mind one thing very true, clearly. How do we get carbon dioxide? We get carbon dioxide by burning of the fossil fuels. How do we get methane? Methane is stored in the tundra of the so many tons and tons of ices are there. Because of this global warming, what happens? The ice keeps on melting. Once the ice melts, the methane which is already there in the ice keeps coming out, in turn creating global warming. And because of the global warming, again the ice melts, again the methane gets released. So obviously, getting it across, students, whenever you come across carbon dioxide in the global warming, what is it will say? Nothing, none other than burning of the fossil fuels. Very good. And greenhouse gases affect climate by altering incoming. And not only this, greenhouses, what do they have an impact? They have an impact by altering a disturbance in the incoming the incoming solar radiations and outgoing infrared radiations. This is being disturbed. What is it? Without solar radiations and infrared radiations, the energy balance of the globe is gone. So we are interrupting the basic energy balance. వచ్చే సోలార్ రేడియేషన్స్ని, వెళ్ళే ఇన్ఫ్రారెడ్ రేడియేషన్స్ని మనము గ్రీన్ హౌస్ గ్యాసెస్ ఎఫెక్ట్ వల్ల డిస్టర్బ్ చేస్తున్నాము. అంటే ఒక ఎకానమీకి ఏదైతే ఆధారంగా మన భూమికి దేనికైతే ఆధారంగా దాన్నే మనము డిస్టర్బ్ చేస్తున్నాము. So what is it we'll have to do controlling this global warming effect? We will get into the next topic. How should we control this global warming? How can we understood what are we understood what is global warming and what are the effects of the global warming here. Now we will understand how can we control the effects of the global warming and what is it the human race will have to do in controlling this global warming. And now these are the measures. What are the measures that we can take to control the global warming? Don't think we are doing a favor. మనకి మనమే బాగుపరచుకోవడానికి చేసుకునే చిన్న ప్రయత్నమే measures to control the global warming. And now see, heating of the earth is much more rapid. It is occurring because of industrial revolution. Where are the maximum amount of fossil fuels being burned, students, tell me? ఎక్కడన్నా వెన్ యూర్ ట్రావెలింగ్ ఇన్ ద ట్రైన్స్ ఆర్ బస్సెస్ చూస్తారు కదా, ఫ్యాక్టరీలోంచి పొగలు పైకి వస్తూ ఉంటాయి. వే డూ థింక్ వాట్ డూ యూ థింక్ ద ఫ్యాక్టరీస్ యూస్? దే యూస్ ఫాసిల్ ఫ్యూయల్స్, దే రైట్. బొగ్గును విపరీతంగా విరివిగా ఉపయోగిస్తారు. ఆఫ్టర్ బర్నింగ్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ ఫాసిల్ ఫ్యూయల్స్ వాట్ డస్ కమ్ అవుట్? కార్బన్ డైఆక్సైడ్. So what does that mean? The first thing which is contributing to the global warming is none other than industrial revolution, right? Industrial revolution. And the second point is, as global warming, temperature increases, ice in tundra melts more. As the global warming means what, the heat is being generated, there is tons and tons of ice is there, and the ice in the tundra region starts melting out. Once the ice starts melting out, what happens? The methane gas, which is already there in the ice, it starts coming out, which is absolutely not healthy thing, which also contributes to the global warming. Greenhouse gases are, one is methane and the other one is the carbon dioxide. We studied about carbon dioxide. Now we are getting on to the methane, how methane is being released. Okay, methane trapped in the ice escapes. As I said right now, methane which is already trapped in the ice because of global warming, because of the heat, వేడి వల్ల ఐస్ కరిగిపోతుంది కదా, because of the heat the ice starts melting and the methane trapped in the ice escapes into the atmosphere, which in turn increases the global temperature, causing the global warming. Very true. This causes more ice. Obviously when methane keeps coming out, it increases the heat in the global warming, and because of global warming again the ice melts, and again once the ice melts methane comes out. It's like a vice versa, vicious circle it's happening. Okay, so what should we do? Take up afforestation. Stop cutting down the forest. Stop deforestation and stand up for afforestation. Students, every one of you in your houses plant a small tree. Wherever you find somebody cutting down the trees, go and request them humbly, please don't do this, because you know, growing a tree, ఒక మొక్కని పెంచడానికి పెద్ద వృక్షం అవ్వడానికి, మహావృక్షం అవ్వడానికి కొన్ని ఏళ్ళు పడుతుంది, కానీ అదే మొక్కని కట్ చేసేయడానికి ఒక గంట పడుతుంది కదా. So what is it we are contributing to the global warming? Please stand with afforestation. Do you know why this lesson is being kept in class 10? ఎందుకో తెలుసా 10వ తరగతి లెసన్ పెట్టారు, మీకు ఐడియా ఉందా? Because you are the future of the country. You generation the future of the country. You all should understand what's really happening around. Take some steps. Government will do its job, but here you should understand all these basic concepts, what's happening around you. Take steps of afforestation. Please plant a tree. If you find somebody who is cutting down the trees, go and request them humbly and try to stop the cutting down of the trees. Okay, students? And we should plan to reduce emission of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane, and not only afforestation if we can contribute. And there is one more thing, what we can do is stop the greenhouses gas effect. How can we do that? We should minimize the burning of the fossil fuels and look for some other alternative. We are not against industrial revolution. We should have industrial revolution. If any country has to come pass the journey of developing country to the developed country, industrial revolution is mandatory because it gives you employment as well. I agree, but this is impacting the global warming, an alarming feature for the human race as well. So obviously we need to find an alternative resource for the burning of the fossil fuels. All these things are indirectly contributing to the global warming. So obviously we'll have to control the emission of greenhouses gas effect. Okay, and now minimize the usage. And not only that, I know everybody loves drinking chilled Coke, chilled thumbs up, chilled water. Though they are not really healthy, we do drink. I am not against any cool drinks. No, not at all. I am here only to tell you the basic facts. That's it. You try to minimize the usage of refrigerators. Why did I speak about cool drinks? We love drinking something which is really chilled. So because of usage of refrigerators, try to minimize the usage of the refrigerators as well as the air conditions. Even this also contribute to the green gases effect, right. So, obviously, these all things if we follow, I think we will be able to curtail or we will be able to control the global warming effect. So, now once again we have studied what is global warming and now here focusing on the measures to control the global warming. Nutshell అంటే మొత్తం అందులో కలిపి ఒక చిన్న సారాంశంగా మనం గ్లోబల్ వార్మింగ్ని ఎలా కంట్రోల్ చేయాలనుకుంటే సింపుల్ థింగ్, ఓన్లీ 2 things. First thing is controlling of greenhouses gas effect and afforestation and try to usage of minimum amount of refrigerators and ACs. By this we will be able to control, we will be able to contribute at least a little bit to the global warming. And this question, measures of global warming, is as well very important when you take across your board examination point. You might get a question in 4 marks, what is global warming, and please please even specify the measures to control global warming. Then you will have to write even the global warming, the definition, what are the reasons that contribute to the global warming, and after that how can we control and what are the measures to control global warming. This all you will have to pen down for the 4 marks. Or if you get for 2 marks, what are the measures to control global warming, you write only these points for 2 marks as vice versa.
Hello students, myself is Sanjay Kumar Singh and I did my BE from Birla Institute of Technology, Misra, and I am having 18 years experience of teaching. Now I am associated with KVC classes. Now here the advantage which you people are going to get, that there is a technical pool of faculty, mostly from IITs. So this is one of the biggest enabler for achieving your success. The second best thing is that doubt classes and all, they are conducted in the presence of faculties. So third is that your entire curriculum, timing of teachings, all is being monitored by ITMs and NITMs. So come here and join us.
Anthropogenic global warming, that is otherwise called as AGW. And now what is this AGW? What is anthropogenic global warming? The word sounds very tricky and very interesting. What is it? Global warming caused by humans since the Industrial Revolution. It emphasizes more on, yes, it emphasizes more on the global warming which is caused by human beings because of Industrial Revolution. So what is the definition of anthropogenic global warming, students? The global warming caused by humans since the Industrial Revolution, this is called as anthropogenic global warming. The regular global warming, you have even the greenhouse gases effect, but here specifically when we are talking about only the global warming curtailed to the Industrial Revolution, then what is that global warming called as? Anthropogenic global warming, which is AGW. Okay, and now this is about anthropogenic global warming. And what is it? Why is it anthropogenic global warming increasing a lot? And when we, I am not diverting the topic. When we talk about anthropogenic global warming, I said about Industrial Revolution, there are 2 categories, almost 3 categories of countries in the world. One is the developed countries, and second one is the developing countries, and the third one is the underdeveloped countries. We all must have studied this in economics a number of times. What are developed countries? Where the GDP is more, where the gross domestic product, the GDP is more, and their the standard of living is very high. You call them as developed countries. And developing countries who are still in the process, that GDP is not so low and their standard of living is not even so low, but even to very good, in a par with some other countries. So obviously you call them as developing countries. What are underdeveloped countries? The GDP is so low that their economic standard of living is very low, that you will find people, most of them under BPL, means what, below poverty, you called as underdeveloped countries. Why is that I am saying this topic in your anthropogenic global warming? Any country is considered as a developed country based on their industrial revolution. Industrial revolution also contributes a lot to your global, to your country's development, to contribute so much to your GDP and all. So obviously when you getting into developing countries, industrial revolution is very important, but because of industrial revolution, what is it we are contributing? Humans are contributing to anthropogenic global warming. So there is always an argument, students, between developed countries and developing countries. What is it argument? Developed countries want developing countries to cut down on burning coal and other activities. Developed countries were really good, whose GDP is extraordinary. What do they want? They want the developing countries to pull across and cut and focus on the fossil fuels and focus more on the industrial revolution. If they want to focus more on the industrial revolution, they will have to cut down on, they'll have to do this. They'll have, countries want countries to cut down on burning of the coal. They say that we'll have to cut down on the burning of the coal, but there is no other alternative for the developing countries. Developing countries argue that developed countries precisely burn for fossil fuels for their development. So developed countries, what do they say? You're contributing to the global warming and please cut down. Please cut down the usage of fossil fuels, but developing countries cannot do that because the alternatives are very less for them. The alternatives what they get are very less. What does developing countries say? They say developed countries already use the precisely, even they also use certain amount of precisely, certain amount of burning of fossil fuels. This is an argument which always happens, but the end of the who is being affected? We, all the human race, either they are developed country or even a developing country or underdeveloped country, but the whole of the human race is being affected. ఈ పోట్లాటలో ఏమవుతోంది? అందరం యావత్ ప్రపంచము, యావత్ మానవ జాతి, అందరము మనము మానవ జాతి ఏంటి? ప్రతి పశు పక్ష్యాదులు మనుషులు అందరూ ఇబ్బంది పడుతున్నాం. అందరము ఇబ్బంది పడుతున్నాం. సో ఇది ఇబ్బంది పడకుండా ఉండాలి అంటే ఎవ్రీ వన్ ఆఫ్ us need to focus on the reasons and thrive hard to curtail this global warming. Precisely, even anthropogenic global warming is one of the most alarming factor which is contributing to the global warming. Every one of us will have to sit and think about it and work hand in hand. It's not only the contribution of the government, it's as well as human beings, as the wonderful students of my country, as the wonderful citizens of my country, which you're the future of the country, right? So get into across all these points and focus on all these things and make sure that how can we eradicate, how can we curtail, how can we minimize our anthropogenic global warming. We will have to understand this. These are the very important, this is also as well very important topic. Anthropogenic global warming, you might get as a 1 mark answer, AGW. With the, there is only one more topic left, and with that last topic we'll be completing this lesson, climate changes in India, and after we'll do that, we'll just get into the other topic.